Back these movies back for another video, and today I thought we'd just take a look at a couple of Star Trek The Next Generation episodes. That being from Season 2, Elementary, My Dear Data, and then Season 6, Ship in a Bottle. Now these were two Star Trek shows that featured the character of Data, played by Brent Spiner, and he took on the sort of character of Sherlock Holmes in both these episodes. So yeah, this kind of just inspired me. Recently I had the opportunity to speak to Nicholas Meyer, the director of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, and he also wrote some of the story for Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Interestingly enough, on that interview, and you can check out an edited version of that on my channel. Recently I've posted a video, but if you look on my playlists as well in the live streams section, you'll find it there. And this was kindly put on by Gareth over at Video Tasties. Please go and check his channel out, great channel. And yeah, he kindly invited myself and fellow YouTuber and friend AJ over at AJ's Movie Place. And we both asked him questions to the director, Nicholas Meyer. So what I learned from that conversation, he's actually quite interested in Sherlock Holmes. And again, a wonderful character that I've always loved, and I asked him a question on Sherlock Holmes, and my favourite actor to play the role is Basil Rathbone. Now he had a different opinion, and if you go and watch that video, you'll kind of hear what he has to say all about Sherlock Holmes. It's very, very interesting to listen to. Now strangely, Gareth over at Video Tasties did actually ask Mr. Meyer if he'd seen the Next Generation episode, or you know, the character of Data playing Sherlock Holmes, and he said he hadn't. And it just got me thinking. I thought, well, it's quite nice to just sort of revisit these episodes and just sort of talk a little bit about, you know, sort of my thoughts on them, and just show you sort of the media that I've got that they're on. So that's what we're going to do today. Just before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you'll be informed when I upload a new video. Welcome back to existing subscribers. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel and really do appreciate it. Please leave a comment on the video. It's great to have comments. Were you a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation? Did you see these episodes? Do you like Sherlock Holmes? Who's your favourite actor to play the role? I know there's many different versions, both on film and TV. So yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on who you like as Sherlock Holmes. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm over there and I post pictures every now and again. So yeah, go and find me over there and follow me if you don't already. Okay, so let's get on with today's video, sort of having a look at a couple of episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation. Okay, so what I've got in front of me here is a VHS tape. It's the only Next Generation VHS tape that I've got left, to be honest. I did collect a few of them, but this particular episode I really enjoyed, Elementary, Dear Data. If we turn it over, it gives you a little bit about the episode. So it says, while enjoying some well-deserved free time, Dr. Pulaski challenges Data to solve Sherlock Holmes type mystery to prove that Data cannot distinguish between deduction and memorization. However, when setting up the mystery, the holodeck computer creates a dangerously clever Moriarty who not only threatens the life of Kate Pulaski but the entire crew of the Enterprise. And you can probably see there's a little picture there. You've got Data, played by Brent Spiner, as Sherlock Holmes. LeVar Burton, who is playing Dr. Watson. Obviously, Geordie LaForge in the TV series, and I forget the actress's name, but she played Dr. Pulaski, the Doctor, in season 2. And this ran for 46 minutes. So this was the episode from season 2 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and the air date was the 5th of December 1988. And a brief description of the episode: Data dons a deerstalker to solve a Sherlock Holmes mystery in the holodeck recreation of Victorian London. It was episode number 3, and it was directed by Rob Bowman. Featured music was by Dennis McCarthy and written by Brian Allen Lane. And yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was kind of in the early days of Star Trek The Next Generation, and there were certain episodes where the characters would sort of don costumes and go into the holodeck and just have a bit of fun, bit of downtime. And this was no exception in this episode. The character of Data and Geordie LaForge don the costumes of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, and they go in and sort of create, as I say, Victorian London and to solve a mystery. And coming along for the ride is Dr. Pulaski, the ship's doctor, in season 2. And they're sort of the typical sort of London sort of setting, you know, sort of trying to solve a mystery. And then they meet Moriarty. And they told the ship's computer to create a character that will outwit Data, not Sherlock Holmes. And this is where the fun starts. So you get the character played of Moriarty that comes into it, and he almost becomes self-aware within the program that he's actually, there's something else going on. And it's a really clever episode because it kind of takes you out of the normal space sort of episode that you would normally get with The Next Generation, and it plonks you right in the middle of Victorian London. So it's a really nice sort of idea that they sort of sort of showed a character from fiction, and they wanted to sort of put their own little spin on it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, and as Video Tasty said in his interview, Data very much plays the character of Sherlock Holmes very much like Basil Rathbone would have done. Now I know Nicholas Meyer kind of said that he didn't really like Rathbone's sort of interpretation of the character. He said he had potential, but he didn't like the sort of the buffoon kind of Dr. Watson that came with the Rathbone films. Now personally, I grew up with these films, watching them in black and white, and I really enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun, and I actually quite liked the character, or the actor, of Basil Rathbone. So I had no issue with it, but it was interesting listening to sort of his sort of viewpoint on it, and he sort of gave answers as to why he didn't like the actor playing the role, and mentioned sort of other actors that he much preferred that would have played the role. So yeah, that's just the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation that they showed in the season 2, and they did come back to another episode which we'll talk about in a second. So Ship in a Bottle was the 138th episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and it was the 12th episode of season 6. Professor Moriarty from the Sherlock Holmes holodeck simulation reappears and seizes control of the Enterprise. The air date was the 25th of January 1993, and this was directed by Alexander Singer. Writer was Rene Echevarria, and the featured music again was by Dennis McCarthy. And again, we once meet the character of Moriarty. In this particular episode, Lieutenant Barclay actually mistakenly awakes Moriarty in the holodeck program, and once again Data and Geordie go into the holodeck and try to sort of speak to Moriarty. They take Captain Picard along, and they all get dressed up in this sort of Victorian clothes again. And it becomes very much in this episode that Moriarty has kind of figured out what's going on. He knows about the outside of the holodeck, and he goes about trying to take control of the Enterprise. And again, this is very much sort of episode where they're trying to sort of fool Moriarty into believing that, you know, what he thinks is going on actually isn't. But he's obviously, from the books, Moriarty was of equal intellect to Sherlock Holmes and was always trying to outwit him, you know, in their sort of adventures that they had in the books. And obviously that played out in the films as well. So yeah, it was a really clever episode, sort of looking at the character of Moriarty and how he sort of came to terms with realising that he was actually just a hologram, and that they allowed him to sort of stay within a holographic process so that he could explore the galaxy. So yeah, it was a very good episode, and sort of a nice continuation, quite a few seasons down the line, this one from the season 2 series. Sadly, Dr. Pulaski didn't return for this one. She wasn't in the, season 6 at all. But yeah, it was great to see Data and Geordie LaForge reprise the roles of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Just sort of a little bit of information about those 2 episodes. As I say, they're sort of favourites of mine in the series. As I say, I've still got the VHS of Elementary Dear Data, and that can also be found on the Blu-ray of season 2 in, you know, high definition. You know, really nice. They sort of went back with these seasons and you know, remastered them in 1080p. So yeah, it's really great to see that episode on here. And again, Ship in a Bottle, which was sort of the sequel to the first episode, can be found on season 6. And again, another great episode, sort of bringing back the character of Moriarty, played by the same actor. I'm not sure the actor's name, but yeah, it was great to see him return. And yeah, it's just a nice sort of slice of Sherlock Holmes mixed in with Star Trek. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that video. It's just sort of quick, just a little bit of information, sort of my sort of crossover between my love of Sherlock Holmes and Star Trek. And it just kind of inspired me from that interview, as I say, that I had with Nicholas Meyer on Video Taste excuse me, Video Tasty's channel. That was really good. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the video, guys. Take care and see you in the next one. Bye now.